So welcome to today's meeting. What I'm going to do is share the screen quickly so you can see what I'm looking at. So have you used Google Drive before?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So you know that we can both make notes. So first of all, I thought it'd be good if you can just give me an introduction to your business, because I guess that you're qualified or certified or something.
Personally, me, no, but my business partner is a qualified coach, hypnotist. It was mainly him who's been the driving force, really.
Yeah.
He will be one of our main coaches, but we will be using others, and obviously they'll all be certified as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are you kind of like the manager, if you like, of everything else, and then these guys? So do you do any coaching yourself?
No, I've never done any of that sort of coaching before. No, we're yeah, I guess you could say sort of operations rather than the actual coaching side of it. Yeah.
Got you. Yes, that's it. Operations manager.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, perfect. Okie doke. So first of all, looking at your website, did you build this yourself?
No, it was actually what we set out to do was to get more of like a brochure with a designer, and she was sort of in charge of how the business is going to look. And then she actually said, "Oh, well, I can do the website on Wix." It was obviously we didn't spend a fortune on it,
Yeah.
but we're happy with how it's come out. Obviously, it's just not. I don't think she's like a proper web designer. And now we've got a little bit more investment. We'll probably spend a bit more on it, to be honest. So
Yeah. Well, I'm really glad that you brought that up, because if you can have a look at my screen here, when I type into Google to see how many pages you've got 8 results, which is 8 pages.
okay.
So the biggest thing about ranking a website is to sculpt your pages from top to bottom. Now these here, these are titles. So obviously if people are searching, this is what people see. So if you go to SEO lady, hang on, let's do this right.
Yeah, I mean, even I literally know nothing about this CEO type of stuff. But even when I was on the Wix website, they've got their own sort of CEO tools, and hardly any of it had really been set up. So that's sort of what brought it to my attention, really, and the fact that obviously when you search us.
Do you know what SEO stands for?
Search engine optimization, is it?
Sure. So Google is a
That's a good
search
guess.
engine, and obviously so is Bing.
Yeah.
So Bing's algorithm is pretty similar to Google. So whatever stuff that you do in Google is likely to rank you at the same rate over in Bing.
Okay.
So the first thing that Google likes are websites with a lot of pages. So I've got the benefit of my domain being 12 years old.
Yeah.
My personal, or one of the phrases that I've been targeting, as you can see, is SEO freelance or freelance SEO.
Yeah.
So you can see here, it's actually showing my maiden name. I've actually updated that to Payne, my surname, but Google hasn't quite figured out how to index it correctly yet.
Okay.
Please, if you see, you know, I've got SEO freelancer.
Yeah.
I'm lucky because my brand name has the word SEO in it, obviously half of SEO lady. But when you're looking at your website, the meter doesn't actually mean anything.
No.
So all of the titles here should actually read what you wanted to rank for.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Well, you actually avoid your brand name. So when I worked at Funky Pigeon, obviously if you type into Google Funky Pigeon, they're going to be Google page 1, position 1.
Yeah.
Because
you search their name, basically. Yeah.
But the word Funky Pigeon doesn't actually say personalized cards to Google, does it?
Yeah. Okay.
So when we're looking at doing that, this is why we don't actually need any of these, because you only get 70 characters. So whereas mine are quite long where I can,
yeah,
I fit in a lot of information there, whereas yours are quite short.
Yes. I guess they're that's sort of what I mean by the website designer obviously didn't set any of this up, because they're literally the names of the pages, aren't they? So
Correct.
they're not set up for good, like, searching, I guess.
The thing is that website developers, and I train website developers because I don't
Yeah,
build websites. I can't do logos, design work, and I don't know development or coding. My niche skill is SEO. So your website developer, she's exactly the same as all the others. She doesn't know anything about SEO.
yeah.
But that's totally common and normal practice. It's very rare that you get a unicorn, which is a developer that actually knows SEO. So that's totally.
Yeah.
The other normal thing, what developers don't realize, is that Wix is actually really, really bad for SEO, and you'll never rank.
Oh, right. Okay.
So I come across this quite a lot.
Yeah.
So if you say now that you've got some more investment, the biggest thing I would say to you before you go and do anything else is actually migrate the whole site over to WordPress.
Okay. Is that I mean, is that relatively straightforward to do, or
Yeah, I
something
mean,
to do it for?
I handle, like, I'm the middleman, or as you call it, the operations manager in these kind of migrations. It's pretty straightforward.
All right.
I can hire somebody, and then I can oversee the entire project. So as the developer is building the website, then I
Yeah.
can actually, ask for certain elements that I know it's going to be SEO ready when the migration's done.
Okay.
So on that thought, the other thing is, I said about all the pages in a website, so
Yeah.
I've got 840. Who wrote the content on your website?
It was sort of all of us, to be honest. We did use content writers to start with,
Yeah.
but we wasn't really happy with them. So it was sort of me and there's two of us, two other partners, who put it together with another person. But yeah, we can obviously change that if it needs to be.
Well, it's not
Needs
so
to be.
much really changed, because Google does value the amount of content on any web page.
Yeah.
So I'll give you an example. Uh, we went to Rome on honeymoon a few years back, and we fell in love with the place. Have you been to Rome before?
Yeah, I absolutely love it. We was meant to go this year, but it got cancelled, obviously, due to Corona.
Gutted. I'd say
Yeah.
so again. We did 4 days, and we did everything that was possibly touristy in 4 days. Quite exhausting because you walk everywhere. But in honesty, we sat down, and my husband said to me, "Well, we could actually sell the house, Nina, and move to Rome." All right,
Yeah.
so we were a few glasses of wine down by this point, but he's right in theory.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you'll need to stop SEO in your website for UK consultants and SEO Somerset, which is my local area.
Yeah.
To SEO it for Rome. So more on that in a minute. What's your geographical areas that you
This
wanted?
is something that I wanted to talk to you about, really, because we're not really limited to any area. Obviously, we'll focus on London because that's where we are at the minute. We're in the southeast, but because everything's going to be video chat for the foreseeable future until people start going back to offices, makes sense. But I mean, if we was going to say, it would be London and the southeast, I guess, for now.
Right, okay. And what actual area are you in? What is the village or the town or the locality?
Well, if we said Greenwich, I suppose that's the borough.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Because the way that SEO works is that you have to start local and then branch out towards the UK.
Okay.
So I started off SEO in my website for SEO Weston-super-Mare.
Right.
It's about 12 miles from Bristol. So of course,
Okay.
I'm thinking, well, the SEO in Weston-super-Mare, there's not going to be too many people that want it. So I started, to target, and I'm talking 12 years ago. I tried to target Bristol, no joy, nothing. I worked on Bristol for probably the first 2 years of my website. I thought, I'm not making any headway. I'm like on Google page 5. Obviously, my website domain is only a couple of years old. And so anybody that's been out there that's got a 10-year-old domain, for example, Google's going to trust more.
Yeah.
So on that thought, how old is your domain?
Oh, it's not very old at all. I think it's probably no older than 3 months, I would
Right.
say. It's not, the website's not been live for longer than 6 weeks.
It's actually when you bought the domain, not when the website went live. So the bad news is that Google doesn't rank websites if they're under 2 years of age, really, the UK nationwide, because
Okay.
there's going to be hundreds of millions of websites created every day, and
Yeah.
I don't know how many in the UK. So if you're targeting the UK as a whole, you do have to go into the Greenwich southeast area, as you said, was the southeast. Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously, if
Okay.
you're going to be going for Mental Health London, that's probably your version of Bristol.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, so you might actually be better going for kind of like remote, So are you holding your meetings via Skype or Zoom or?
Yeah, they're at Zoom at the minute. I mean, the company's really, obviously, you can tell, is very new.
Yeah.
We sort of started it before, we started it earlier this year, but obviously, when lockdown happened, obviously there's no offices anymore, so everything's via Zoom, and that I think will be how we'll go forward, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay. So we've got mental health, and you said personal development. Now, coaching is a single word, and again, that's literally too broad for you to even think about ranking.
Yeah, I was going to ask you actually.
Yeah.
I put some more thought into the key phrases.
Yeah.
And we was going to go with workplace mental health support, mental health at work,
Right.
and workplace mental well-being.
Workplace mental well-being. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
The other one was workplace mental health support.
Yeah.
And what did I say? Oh, mental health at work. Yeah, when I thought about it after, obviously coaching's a very broad subject anyway.
Mental health at work isn't actually saying what you're doing. That's more like an article about mental health at work. So mental health, and again, this would be, consultations, be remote. Yeah, you've got a handle on this. Okay. So these are the kinds of words that you need on your homepage. So if we have a look at the homepage. Okay, so let's just have a look at the coding on this.
I mean, what I probably should have said at the start is that we're the reason we went with building better mental health is because we was going to target the construction industry to start with, because two of us have got experience in it, and that's actually the idea came from.
Well, that's even better. That's going to be even easier to rank because that's very niche.
Yeah, but then we realised that the idea is quite scalable, and there's actually not many people doing it.
Yeah.
So we probably will try to broaden ourselves quite quickly, but as a starting point, that was where we was going to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where the term.
I come from a family that's in the construction industry. It's actually my dad's the treasurer of one of the charities. So if somebody is critically injured at work, the charity will step up and provide home care or any adjustments that need to be made around the house, that kind of thing. You like.
So I think what's the name of that company or charity?
It's the Lighthouse Club.
Yeah, I've looked into. I was researching them actually a little while ago. We was looking for mental health charities that are supporting construction and what they came up actually.
Yeah. So guess who did the SEO on that website?
And you was the first one. Yeah, on the list.
Yeah. So that's the whole point. So they're going to be easy wins.
Yeah.
So just going to go back to the SEO Rome thing. So I'll show you how easy it is to rank. So SEO Rome, there's no Google ads running. Sometimes Monday to Friday, you'll get Google ads here at the top. But organically, obviously, this is me. So here we've got in the page title, before I was going to write the content, obviously I knew what search phrase I was aiming for because we talked about it. So I need to SEO this particular blog post about SEO Rome. Interestingly enough, nowhere else on my website mentions SEO Rome. So it's just this one standalone page that's ranking. So when you click into it, so if you hover over the top, this is where you've got the page title that we saw in the search results. And here, the trailing URL obviously starts with the two keywords, SEO Rome. And then the headline here, SEO Rome starts here. So I've got my people per hour promotion. You know, I'm great, read about me. And then I've said SEO in a different way, which is the same thing, which is Rome search engine optimization. And videos about blah, blah, blah. There's my call to action, send me a message. Now, interestingly enough, all of this is bunkum.
Is what, sorry?
It's bunkum. That's an old-fashioned word.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Sorry, I thought I misheard you then.
I'm showing my age. I'm 50 in a few months. I've been in the business too long.
So is that that page itself, is that actually, you can actually click to get there on your website, or is it almost hidden? Or
No, it's not hidden. It's actually as part of my blog.
Ah, I see.
And I actually wrote it back in 2017. And a feature of WordPress is that every year you can pop back to your old blog post, just change the date to make it look as if it's fresh content.
Oh, wow. So blogging is probably quite a good way to add pages to your website then, I guess.
You've nailed it. It's the best way, especially on WordPress. The thing is with WordPress, you know, we've talked about the title and the URL and then the headline, but you've got tags and categories. So these are categories. So for example, if I click blog, this actually takes you to my blog.
Yeah.
So all of these are internal linking, which is great because Google likes to visit the homepage of a website and then find out which page is interlinked. So it was a good question about you saying, is it a standalone page? Yes, it is, but it's actually linked under the blog. So these are all, the bits and pieces there. But this is around 1,500 words.
Right.
The thing is that Google's got this thing, if you've been looking into SEO, it's called semantic search. Basically, it's about saying a word, but not saying a word, but meaning the same thing.
Okay.
So it's a little bit like search engine optimization is the same as SEO, but the two completely different words or phrases.
Yeah.
So Google knows, Google's semantic brain, the way that it works, is that it knows that Epiney Park is in Rome. You know.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So actually, theoretically, you could write a blog about construction, mental health, Zoom consultations, and you could put your grandma's apple crumble recipe at the bottom.
Yeah.
You get me? So you get all
I
this
kind of do.
important stuff at the top. You get your page architecture correct. So you get it from the top, the title, this, that, the other. Your call to action, phone me, contact me, blah, blah, blah. And then you can waffle on down here.
So that bit of waffle, as long as you've got words that are sort of relatable, is that sort of what you're saying? Or is
You've got it. Yeah.
Okay.
So SEO isn't that complicated. The ball ache is actually writing the content, because this took me 3 hours.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, we've spoken about sort of trying to do a blog anyway, but we just really decided on how we would focus it. So I guess construction.
So the thing
Maybe
is with
start with that.
Wix is that you don't get the tags and the categories. So here, look, can you see here, look, obviously I'm targeting this page, I'm targeting it for SEO Rome, but I'm still targeting my other keywords as well.
So you just put in more and more keywords.
Yeah, exactly. So SEO Freelancer UK, SEO Freelance UK, SEO Consultant UK. So again, you could use the grandma's apple pie recipe, but actually, as long as you tag it in WordPress with all your categories and then all the little headings, you're good to go.
Yeah. Okay. I get that.
So really, what you need to do as well is that Google won't rank any websites. There's no hard figure, but Google's really not going to rank a website that's under 20 or 30 pages.
Right. Okay.
So at the minute, you've only got 8. So with all the will in the world, you've got a domain that's 10 or 12 weeks old, very little content, and it's on a platform that Google doesn't really recognize.
Right. Okay.
So for example, do you know your postcode off by heart in Greenwich?
My post, I don't know I said Greenwich because that's where 2 of my business partners are living, but I don't know their postcode. Mine's actually a Bromley postcode.
Oh yeah.
But so I can give you that if you want to add that on
It's
there.
just the beginning, for example. So what are you, B something?
BR7.
Yeah, BR7.
Yeah.
So Wix would be good if
Actually, do SE9. Do SE9 actually.
Yeah, SE9.
That's great.
Yeah, so that's good. So so this fella I work for in London, we've been working together since Christmas last year. And if you see here, look, I said to him, whereabouts do you cover? So he provided me with all the postcodes.
Yeah.
So
I see.
So he's now ranking for, office refurbishment contractors, west of London or West London or City of London, that kind of thing. And if you see his blogs, how long will a London office refurbishment take? And again, I wrote this for him. I can't write your content. I'm not too bad with some industries. And I think, the whole refurbishment kind of almost ties in with the construction aspect. And again, this is probably a little bit longer than the SEO Rome post. And I remember this took half a day, which is 4 hours. But once you've done that, once you've got your URL, you can actually say to Google in Webmaster Tools, I've just made some changes, Google. Here it says inspect any URL. So let's just say that hypothetically you've changed your homepage to read construction industry specialist, in mental health, remote Skype, Zoom sessions. So you've changed your homepage website, and then you're just going to say to Google, have a little look, and Google's giving you a green tick, we've already crawled it.
Right.
But if you do change it, because it's already been crawled, you actually request an index.
Okay.
So technically, you wouldn't do this part of it. This would be down to the SEO person. So in terms of ranking in Google, the way that it would work is you write me a 1,000-word article about, what you could talk about is construction, blah, 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 industry, blah, 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 blah. And you can actually share your story. Obviously, you can make it anonymous. You're not going to name company names. You're not going to you don't even have to say that it was you guys that experienced the pressure in construction. You could say, there has been a situation whereby. So get all your call to action at the top with your telephone number and the contact form, and and how Zoom consultations work for you. And then you can put the underline, your main body of the text underneath it, just chatting about, you could even name the different pieces of construction. Maybe you're in the quarry industry or something like that, or maybe tarmac and roads, highways, anything else like that. So Google's semantic brain will connect all of these dots and get you ranking pretty quickly because it's a niche service.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So like SEO Rome, and Google page 1, position 1 in google.co.uk, google.it for Italy, and google.com in America, it's a very, very
Okay.
low competition phrase. So it's very easy for me to get to page 1, and I've never had a business inquiry.
Right.
Because this illustrates is that how easy it is to get to Google page 1 for a niche, you know, phrase.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the actual inquiries coming in are going to be very few and far between.
Yeah, I see what you mean. So,
So
yeah. So that, yeah. So construction, there's probably not that many people.
Exactly, but you did, you know,
Yeah.
you did. So if you did, there might be other people. But the thing is that the relevance, Google is always saying in all of its, you know, advice to webmasters, is to say we are looking for relevance. So, so if anybody does actually give me an inquiry for SEO, it's so highly relevant. You know,
Yeah.
there's a high percentage that I'm going to convert that customer into, you know, a lifetime SEO client. So again, relevance with the construction industry, you might not get very many hits, but the ones that you do are going to be 100% relevant.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, that's a good point actually. Yeah, if they're searching for it and we're at the top of that, then obviously.
Yeah, exactly. So, and also there's the business mentoring part of this is that if you're getting 100 visits to the website a day, but all of them are irrelevant traffic, then, you know, your actual conversion rate is going to be very low.
Yeah.
So Google says a conversion rate is around 3%. So for every 100 visits to my website, Google's saying around 3 of those will either send you a message or contact you. In reality, that's not what I experience. This is mainly for e-commerce. So don't get disheartened if you see that you've had 100 clicks and nobody's contacted you. You know, it can take you know, a while for people to mull it over. You know, it's a difficult thing to choose. You know, a mental health professional. But of course, the higher the relevance, you're going to increase your conversion rate significantly.
Yeah, I totally get that. Yeah, I think to start with, the way we're going to try and sell it is to go out and reach out to people anyway. But I just feel that, especially now, there will be people looking for it, looking to employ people to do this sort of thing. So.
Yeah, locally on one of the newspapers that we have here in Weston, they shared that they've got a really small branch of Relate, you know, the relationship counselling in Weston, and the closest one from that is Bristol. And Relate have kind of like done a little bit of an editorial where they're saying we've seen a massive spike in increased things where relationships are suffering because people are locked down together. And I hear it on the radio as well, is that, you know, abusive relationships have been compounded
Really?
because people aren't really allowed to escape, or they can't escape.
Yeah, God, yeah.
So they're really flat out busy. So I think the quicker win then, really, in terms of running this would be, well, number one would be migrate to WordPress. Well, I'm just going to show you something because I actually did a, where is it? It is,
So this is probably a stupid question, but if we did migrate to WordPress, I'm assuming the website will look the same.
No, not really, because Wix doesn't talk.
Right.
So I'm doing some research for my website. I'm going to explain myself now. I'm screen sharing. I run a same-sex gift website for gays and lesbians that are getting married and things like that. And I'm getting, you know, like I said about relevance and things like that, people are coming to my website expecting me to be selling sex toys and adult fun. And actual fact, I'm selling really nice distinguished pieces of Mrs. and Mrs. and Mr. and Mr., you know.
All right.
So
Yeah, yeah.
totally not. But you know, if that's where the money is, then well, I'm just going to
Yeah,
be a
why not?
flying stock. So these
Can't beat
guys,
him, join them.
I was just laughing now. I'll take that off. We're all adults here.
Yeah.
Now these guys, carpentry contractors, they run a Wix website, and I experienced a massive uplift in new clients between April and July, like overwhelming. The work that I had come in was unsustainable me as a sole trader, but I knew it was going to be short-lived. So I stuck
Yep.
with it, and I was doing 7 days a week and blah, blah, blah. So this guy came to me and he said, I've got this Wix website and I've had an SEO on the Wix website now for 12 months. So I paid him a lot of money and I've not ranked. And I said, John, I'm really sorry. Wix doesn't rank in Google at all. So you'll rank for Weston-super-Mare if you're based in Weston-super-Mare. So for example, Wix.
So does it literally not rank at all?
Not outside your area. So if you were Googling mental health consultant or mental health sessions SE9 or Birmingham BR7, wherever you are located. So have you got yourself on on Google Business?
As in the.
I'll show you. Let's have a look. So at the minute here,
I see.
So this is where you just actually put in your address. So when you're registered on Google My Business, that will be connected to your Google account because obviously you are logging with Google. So your login is Joe at, isn't it? Joe at bementor.co.uk. So when Google connects to any website, I mean, it could be a free website. It could be a Google blog.
Mm-hmm.
So any of these, they don't really rank anywhere. But the downside, again, of working in this industry is that I've had people come round to my house.
Oh, God.
I had one on Tuesday this week, and I've not had one for a couple of months, but people just turn up. They just look at Google. And what does annoy me is that the general public,
I see.
They don't read websites. They really don't read websites. So my website says, pick a distinguished gift for, the gay couple in your life on their special wedding day, blah, blah, blah. And people are just going, got any sex toys? So you've got to be really blatant to Google and to visitors what you do.
Yeah, okay.
So here, Google is ranking your website homepage for the 2 words, our mission.
Yeah, got ya.
You've got conversation here, but you don't actually say the word consultation or session or remote.
So yeah, we've got to think about getting those words
correct
in the content.
You've nailed it. I told you SEO is easy. So all of these.
It's a dark art, isn't it? Sounds like anyway. I don't understand it at all, but you're doing a good job of explaining it.
It is so easy. Once you figure it out, every bit of content that you'll start to create in the future now, you won't start writing it until you know what phrase you're targeted as. Before businesses have had SEO advice, it's kind of like a general knowledge thing that blogs are really good for SEO. But if you're just blogging about your grandma's apple pie recipe, because you've heard that blogs and content, so you could write a 2,000 word about your grandma's apple pie recipe, but it's not connected to mental health, and so it's not going to help ranking. So every single blog post that you do does actually need to be sculpted from the beginning of it. So I'll take you to the back end of my website now.
Okay.
I've had Sky connection problems. How has your internet been?
My internet is terrible. I'm surprised it hasn't cut out, actually.
Well,
I was going to say that at the start, but
yeah. Well, if you're not doing video, there's not going to be as much bandwidth.
No, true.
So if I go to posts, So a lot of people obviously want to know how you're doing, Nina. You know, I want proof that hiring you works. So I do a lot of case studies. So we've got the e-commerce, and then I've been targeting local SEO. You know, and can you explain your SEO methods? But all of these really help as well. You know, because you don't get these in Wix, so your tags in your categories. So this one, how much is SEO in Somerset? So let's have a look at SEO Somerset prices on top of Google there, look. And Teapot Creative, I actually had a consultation with them a few years back, and they wanted me to do the SEO for one of their clients, if that makes sense. So while I was there, it was more or less a session like we're having today. So these developers learn really quickly. So they understood from our chat that it's about the content, the number of words on page, how to target your titles of them, you know, and your headlines and things like that. So they were ranking quite well, and they learned really quickly, and kudos to them. But of course, like, I had to show them, didn't I? So, you know, this, and the other thing that you can get is featured snippets. So one of my clients is an LED company, LED light company. How to replace, I can never spell this right, fluorescent tube with LED batten. And I didn't know that LED battens are called LED battens. Did you?
Well, actually, I'm an electrician, but by trade.
No, so I met Kieran 2 years ago now, so we've been working together on and off for 2 years, kind of ad hoc, and he's learning along with me. You see, he's one of those clients that wants to learn. So some of my clients are like, "Here's your money, Nina, get on with it. I don't want to know. I don't care. I haven't got time." But this particular chap is really sweet. So this is a featured snippet. It says here, look, about featured snippets.
Okay.
You can see this is dominating the top of Google page 1. Not only is it because I've said how to.
Oh, right. Okay. Is that what they are?
I always
say.
Yeah, how to replace. So he wrote the content, because I don't know about fluorescent tubes or LED bands. He wrote the content, gave it to me, and then I tweaked it with him in a live session, and we did it working together, both of us. So he'd learned everything. And we got the featured snippet in an hour and a half.
Right, blimey.
So, but they're not easy to get. The more words that you choose, the easier it's going to be to get it. You know, so if you just type in LED batten, it's going to be a highly competitive phrase. So the other one with how long does a London office refurbishment take? So this one is actually initial interiors that I showed you a minute ago.
Yep.
So, and again, if you remember that one, I said took me half a day to write, because simply I'm writing about a subject I know a little bit about, and I can research other people's websites, and then I can write my own words, because you can't copy other people's content.
Yeah, okay.
Everything you've got to do has got to be unique. So you can look at other websites for inspiration, not a problem.
Yeah.
But you can't even like copy one sentence, because if you go into Google to check, then Google will know that you've actually copied a sentence or a paragraph from somebody else's website. So it's got to be all written, you know, owned by you, let's say, copyrighted by you.
Yeah, okay, right. That's good to know.
So first of all then, migrate to WordPress. That would be the first one. Write content. So 8 pages at the minute. Need 15 as a starter, let's just say. You know, or more if you have time. So once you're in WordPress, this is where then you would then provide the content to the SEO, then pay for, so it would be paid for monthly website management. So really, that's what
Yeah.
you're looking at. And also, so in terms of this, which kind of client are you? Are you the pay somebody, get on with it? Here's the content, Nina, do what you will. Or do you guys want to, or do you want to learn along with me, like Kieran at the LED place?
Personally, I would definitely like to learn more. How do you prefer to work?
I'm easy. I've been doing this a long time. I've done it always. Well, I mean, what we could do, obviously, you'll need content before we can go to
Yeah.
WordPress. So what we can do is what I did with Kieran is that he'll book a session with me
Yeah.
and then say, okay, so my deadline is going to be, you know, the 30th of August, Nina. I'm going to provide content. And then what we do is have a Zoom call. And then we will go through the content and I will tell him what to do. So I show him the improvements. So he's got a vague idea of what's going on. And then,
Okay.
because I don't drive, you see, so if I'm being driven in a car somewhere or visiting someone's house, I won't be able to tell you which way you're going, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not paying attention.
Well, that's probably a good thing. 'Cause, we've been meaning to write more content anyway, so
Yeah.
that would be used to sort of really get that going. I suppose I suppose the way I would like to do it is to learn more, work alongside you, so that we can, and then get it to a point where maybe then I can leave it, and just let you or
Yeah.
be able to carry on with it. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I've got an idea of what's going on, to be honest, because
Exactly.
really
So I've just been typing here, Clifton hypnotherapist. Clifton's a place in Bristol. Helen Rogers, she did this with me. So she was writing a blog. She pinged me an email and said, "Have you got time next week, Nina? I've got a blog post and I want you to talk me through it." And she took around 6 different blog posts. So in my experience of training, this is not people being stupid, but the human brain needs to repeat something between 6, 8, or 10 times before you learn it.
right.
So this is another
I thought it
reason.
was 10,000 times.
No,
Well, that was why I was no good at anything.
No, and it is. I mean, if you do it in a short space of time, for example, I've been carrying out an SEO task that I did last year for a client, and I think the time before that was probably the year before that. So I've done this task a total of 3 times in 3 years. Now, when I did it last year, I remembered the bits that I did the year before, but still I got frustrated and didn't get things right the first time. And it was actually in the hosting panel, so I had to raise a ticket with the host and say, "Where have I gone wrong? I'm stupid." And then I had to do the same thing again this year, and I referred back to the ticket in the hosting account so I could see how they instructed me.
Right.
So even if technically I've been doing that task for 3 years, I could say, but I've only done it 3 times. So what Helen would do would be write a content, and I think at the beginning, writing one piece of content and having one lesson a month is not going to be enough. So ideally what you do is that you have 2 pieces ready for me. So we'd split the consultation. So for example, if you hired me for an hour, we can go through the first piece of content, show you how to SEO it, and then let's just say that does take half an hour. You've still got half an hour in credit. So we'd then end the call, and then I'd say, okay, now you've got it. Now you're hot on the brain. You SEO the second piece without me being there. Give me a call back, and then I'll go through and see how you've improved.
Oh, okay, right. Yeah, I get you.
So it's
learning by doing, essentially. Yeah.
Exactly. Like I don't drive, so I've got no idea where I'm going.
Yeah. So, so obviously we'll get some more content done.
Yeah.
But do we need to focus on the existing 8 pages to try and enhance them as well? Or
Absolutely. Because you know already that you're going to be changing your homepage. You need to mention all of these generic phrases as apart from saying our mission. But the thing is,
go on. Sorry.
Go on.
No, I was just thinking, just as an example, where it says our mission, just essentially get rid of that and put a phrase that's more relatable there.
We're cooking with gas. You've got it.
Right. Okay.
So the closer to the top of a website page, whether it's your homepage or blog post or anything, that you've got the content you want to rank for, Google ranks that as a stronger signal as opposed to a wedding photographer that is going to have all these pretty pictures of brides and ponies and rose petals. And then they add some content at the bottom of the page as like an afterthought for SEO.
Yeah. Well, I suppose the good thing is there's a fair amount of writing on this website. It just needs to be changed.
Yeah, exactly. So
okay.
in our business to cultivate our mental well-being. So you've got that. So they've got mental health down there. So actually say the word mental health there.
It's just, I suppose once it clicks, you sort of do it second nature, you put those words in. But for us, it was just writing content.
Exactly.
Sounded good, I suppose.
Yeah, it is. You know, I wouldn't be in business if people knew what they were doing. I hold between, I don't know, 3 and 6 consultations a week. Most of them from people per hour that come in. Other people are directly from my website that send me a message and an inquiry. You know, I speak to people just like yourself and other business owners, you know, just starting out. But I've got this off pat now. I've been doing it for so long. All right. So with the WordPress migration, there is actually somebody that I know locally in Weston-super-Mare. So what I normally do, I contact the developer there. I say, hey, James, I've got this guy. He's got 6 pages. Can you do me a WordPress website, just the migration? And I think it probably takes around, I think at the minute, oh, bless him, he's really busy. He was on furlough. So he's actually full-time employed. So then they sent him home to work from home, and then they furloughed him, which then meant he could work on his website and take on new website clients. And then they said, okay, we're all ready now. Lockdown's easy. You can all come back in the office. And suddenly working 2 jobs.
He's got too much work now.
Yeah, you're probably looking around a 4 or 6 week turnaround, which isn't too bad, because that gives us time to do the SEO tuition in advance. Yeah,
okay. Have you got any idea about how much you'll charge for that? Just so I can
the last website I did, the Construct guy, let me check. I think that was £700. However, it was a lot of money because in his blog he had something like 110 blogs.
Oh, okay.
Because he's and again, do you remember I said that he'd had this SEO that was working on his Wix website, and the SEO person had told the company owner, you need to blog, more blogs the better. Unfortunately, all of his blogs were, I kid you not, 3 sentences. Today we are working in Bridgewater in Somerset, which is close to the M5. Call us if you want your construction thing. You know, so it was, I don't know how these people sleep at night that can charge this. So this is what I wrote yesterday. I really like this one. So this chappie can write for England. He's really good. And I was looking at what's the difference between, because I asked this question. I says, can you just give me the stupid people, you know, just talk to me like I'm a member of the general public. So this was his for stupid people here.
Blimey, it's quite big, isn't it? Quite a lot of words.
Yeah, exactly. So, and he's also targeting accredited fire door installers. So that's one of his. And his main key phrase or keywords in a search phrase is carpeted contractors in Somerset and Southwest. And again, Bristol, Somerset, Devon and Dorset. And then also he wrote me a blog post about cladding. So I know that, you know, this is probably around 600, 700 words. It's spread out a lot because they've got the large text and stuff. But by combining 2 blog posts into one, This is 1,330 odd words.
Right. And you've got all the tags at the bottom there as well.
Yeah, so these are all the tags. You spotted that. Well done.
Okay, well that's fine because like I said, we've been talking about blogging, and my partner is the coach, and he's really sort of heavily into this sort of stuff. He's always on Instagram posting things, and he loves that sort of thing. So I'm sure we can get some content written up. But yeah, so I suppose we just have to do that. Then we'll meet again, I guess.
For the quickest win, you would need to go for the construction.
Yeah.
So if you write it, go on.
Once, say, a year down the line, we do start to rank a little bit. Where you said you can broaden your area, geographical area, can you also broaden your, like, for example, not just construction, we're moving to something else? Can you do that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So the way that it works is that we would target some search phrases at the beginning. I mean, if you hire an agency, they can say, well, you know, give us a spreadsheet of 40 phrases. But as a sole trader, and also if you're going to take this on and learn as well, you target maybe 1 or 2 phrases at the beginning, work on those until you think, okay, well, they're ranking now because these are niche phrases that we're working on. It's easy to rank. And then long term, you keep plugging away. So remember I said 12 years ago, I wasn't ranking in Bristol. A couple of years ago, I had my first inquiry for ages from Bristol. And I said to the person on the phone, how did you find me? And he said, I Googled SEO Freelancer Bristol, which I didn't actually target. I'd actually done all the work 12 years ago. But remember I said that a domain, you know, it is more trustworthy when it's over 2 years of age.
Yeah.
This also works for the actual URLs of the internal pages.
Right.
So I have written about SEO in Bristol before, and SEO Freelance in Bristol, but I kind of forgotten about it because I thought it's beyond my reach. You know, I need to target on the things that I can achieve as opposed to being frustrated thinking I'm not ranking. So as a result, Google has seen all my old blog posts from a decade ago, and that's given Google the weight to rank me for a phrase that I didn't really need to target in the first place.
Yeah, okay.
So this lady here, I've actually just finished working with her because she's had a content writer come on board and she was very short of cash. So I think at the minute she's got one of her clients who's a content writer, so they're swapping counselling sessions for content. But I met her in London. When I went to London December last year, I met the guy from the refurbishment places at Termite Initial Interiors. And then also I met Amanda as well. So I try and, you know, meet people wherever I can. So she said, obviously, when COVID hit, she said, I needed to rank, you know, for remote UK nationwide. And I said, the thing is, Amanda, people have already been targeting UK nationwide remote counselling before COVID came along. However, the quick win was anxiety for COVID.
Oh, right, okay.
So I
she's
so I think she was COVID counsellor remote UK, something like this. Yeah. So psychotherapy, it's psychotherapy.org, that's not her. Maybe it's not the right phrase, but you get where I'm at. But she did get to Google page 1 for a specific phrase that included, you know, cabling. I think it was relationship or something else like that. So, and again, that was a bit like the construction phrase. It's a very specific phrase about COVID, you know. When the vaccine comes out, obviously it's going to be under control, but, you know, we're probably looking realistically, you know, at least 2 years before people don't need to rank for COVID anymore.
Yeah, well, I think for us, it's never been about COVID. So construction definitely the best route for us to go down to start with. Yeah.
So she wrote the content. So at the top, always have your call to action. So a lot of people write the content at the bottom, and they go, if you like what you read, give us a call on this number. It's just like SEO Rome. You need to get all your messages and shove it up there at the top, slap people around the face. Here's my stuff. I'm good at what I do. Give me your money. Here's how to do it.
Well, I mind.
Right, 2 pieces of content. Okay, and then it would be contact Nina to arrange a consultation. So we will SEO one article, and then Joe will work in a second, then call back for me to go through. I think you're probably looking around 500 quid for the website migration. I'm really sorry, you know, to say that it's extra cost. I mean, how much did you pay for the website you've got here?
I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. I didn't deal with any of it, and I know it's sort of linked with some other bits. So it was more the branding that she really focused on.
Oh, right, okay. Sounds fair enough. So once we've got that in, so you can then start work in advance, get your content sorted. We could have some SEO tuition. In the meantime, I can then work in the back end, and I could get your website constructed. And then that will just be mean. And also, because you're not like John at the carpentry place, you haven't got 120 blogs. You haven't even got blogs. You've just got 6 pages.
Yeah.
So it's going to be I think John's website took eight weeks, but this one, you know, as I say, should be 4 weeks. Bear in mind if you can book things in. But what I will do, that's my homework, Nina's homework. Contact James for a price on the website. Unless, you know, you've got someone else that you know that can get. The thing is with James is that because he lives locally, before COVID, we'd meet at Wetherspoons every Tuesday because they do cheap steak nights, if you remember.
Yeah.
Well,
I prefer the curry night.
Yeah. Oh, the curry night. I had curry yesterday. We meet every Tuesday because as a website developer, he would get people that say, oh, I need to know SEO, and then he'd pass them to me. And if I get an instance whereby one of my clients needs development work, and he's a WordPress expert, obviously I'll pass over the work or manage the work myself. So he's picked up a lot on SEO. So as he's doing websites now, he will also build in the SEO elements as kind of like second nature. So it's
okay, good. I mean, we obviously did do it on a budget to start with, but like I say, we have got some investment now, so we will try to spend a bit more money on it.
So here is your kind of memoir, if you like. So writing content for SEO. So again, decide what phrase you want to target before you start writing. Category blog. This is kind of odd because people just can't write 1,000 words. So you've got that one. So like we said with SEO Rome, the URL, the page title and the headline should have your keywords first. And what we said as well about avoid using your brand name. The point of SEO is to attract people to your site who don't know your company. So we've got that. You've got 70 characters to name your page at the top. You've got your headline there, meta description. Oh, and the one last thing here, alt tags. Alt is a shortened term for alternative. So when I mentioned wedding photographers earlier on, they're the worst people to work with in terms of they're very creative people, and artists are highly perfectionist. and they're very aesthetically focused. So if something isn't pretty or perfect, they get angry and frustrated. So working with wedding photographers, I try and avoid from now on, because they want to be Google page 1 with no content.
Yeah.
But bearing in mind is that when you've got the alt tags, I'll go back to WordPress. I'll show you how easy it is where I'm on posts. So media library. Oh, this is him, look. This is my case study. So that constructs before an SEO in 10 weeks, and it's just gone straight up. But if you see here, I'm actually in the middle of writing a blog post at the minute, Wix to WordPress. So that's why I've called that on the alternative text look. So you can't see that by the human eye, but Google can. And that's another one. So SEO case study, how much does SEO cost? SEO Western Supermare, SEO consultant freelancer. So these are the kind of things that you can do in WordPress, is name all of your images with your phrases. So what you can do all of these here. So your tags, it's actually really easy to copy and paste. So if you, all of your phrases, so we've got 4 phrases there with commas. This is a little trick that you can do. So posts, all posts. So you can do a quick edit in WordPress.
Right.
And then you can just paste them there and add your extra tags.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay.
So with this guy, and he got all of these blogs, all I did was create a list of search terms, you know, Somerset carpentry contractors and some, you know, world also, that kind of thing. And then I did back to the future SEO. Now they're in WordPress, I just went and edited all of his posts that have nothing on them and pasted them all. Bam, 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 bam.
Yeah.
So, alrighty, Roo. So what questions do you want to do?
What questions have I got for you? Did you say? Sorry.
Yeah, have you got any questions?
I don't know if I do. There's a lot to take in.
Yeah, it is.
I didn't have any understanding of it whatsoever when we started this. So I think what I'll just focus on doing is obviously trying to get this content done and have a good look at the website as it is and see how we could change and add the keywords and phrases. I know you said you're going away to the 2nd, didn't you?
I am, yeah. Hence that's why I'm working the weekend. I'm working tomorrow and then I'm back in on the 2nd, but I'm not really. I'm trying to avoid consultations that week because it's going to be a short week. So, but bearing in mind, you know, a 1,000-word article, if it takes me 3 hours, it'd probably take you 4.5.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to say it's good that obviously you're going away, so that gives me time to write it. Also, I've got to try and relay this back to the other 2 guys.
Yeah.
I've taken notes, but there's lots to take in. But it's been really helpful. It's opened my mind a little bit.
Yeah. So back on the 2nd of September. However, I'm going to Ibiza if I can travel, because mine hasn't been cancelled yet.
My sister went to Ibiza last week.
Oh, really?
She got there and back. Yeah, she's in quarantine, but
yeah, that's it. I've just paid for a Spanish conversational course at the local college. I try and do courses every now and again because every day's a school day, right? You can never stop learning. And I just said to my husband, we went out playing pool yesterday when we had that curry, and I said, oh, blah, 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 I'm only going to be missing a week of the Spanish lessons. And he says, no, you're going to be missing 3 weeks. And then the penny dropped because I've got to be in isolation. But I work from home, so it's fine for me. But he's a postal worker,
right?
So he's going to wangle 2 weeks of holiday that Royal Mail, because he gets allocated weeks. So he's not. if he's not doing anything, he will just have a staycation and take a week off work, you know. But he's going to combine both of those so he can actually be at home and still get paid. So back in October. So
good.
really, your content, if you can't get your content in the middle of September, when you're looking at the content, middle of September or October.
Oh, I did have one question actually. It's about linking social medias and things.
Oh
because
yeah.
I think we're going to be quite heavy with that sort of stuff. How that can help, if it helps at all.
No, good question. So social media does, even if you post, you know, do 2 tweets or 5 posts on Facebook a day, none of that helps SEO because that's social media.
Okay.
That's why it's called social media. Be very careful if you're going to hire somebody with social media, because you actually need to track the conversions. So for example, if you're paying for Google AdWords in Google Analytics, you will see the traffic coming through in Google Analytics to say that today you received 100 visits and 50 of them were from AdWords, and as part of that, you know, you had 2 inquiries from AdWords, but the other 50 were visits from social media or from organic, and you had no conversions at all. You had nobody contacting you. So if you are hiring a social media company, group, or freelancer or friend, it's highly important that you manage to separate the data in your Google Analytics to prove how it's paying for itself.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So just like I'm able to demonstrate my success by saying, okay, well, before we started, you know, you weren't ranking at all for construction mental health. You've written some articles and we've got them up and we've gone over to WordPress, and suddenly, bang, you know, you're on Google page 3 or Google page 2. And that's my deliverables, you know, that's my target. But obviously with social media, it's not going to help your SEO ranking. So therefore, the target, you know, reporting tools are going to be how many people have actually converted from an inquiry to an actual customer. And also, Instagram might be a good platform for you to start. I really don't believe in Facebook advertising at all.
No, I don't think Facebook's going to be the way we're going to go. I think it's probably going to be Instagram and LinkedIn, I guess.
I
know
LinkedIn really.
Right. Okay.
I've done a significant amount of LinkedIn. I was hired by an American company before I became a freelancer. They had me attend a proper, you know, LinkedIn masterclass, if you like. And I've been on LinkedIn for a long, long time, so I already knew most of the ins and outs. But it was basically just megaphoning. I call it megaphoning. It's just people saying, "Look how good we are, you know, contact us now." We, you know, I think LinkedIn is good from a recruitment point of view. I really don't think that people are going to see an advert or post on LinkedIn and think, "Oh, that reminds me, I'm going to ring up and see if I can make an appointment for a mental health professional," because the odds are people will have already done their research already on Google.
Yeah.
Just thinking about, because I'm a northern bird, I know I live in Somerset now, but I hate spending money if you can't actually see a return on it.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I mean, we haven't spoken about advertising at all yet. We're not very far into our life, so but it's something to bear in mind down the line. I think what we spoke about with LinkedIn is more searching for HR professionals that we can contact rather than posts.
And that's the other thing. You know, I did that when I first started, you know, and obviously I got a lot of time in my hands and not many clients, so I was still building a portfolio and struggling to pay the mortgage. So I was on LinkedIn, and I'd even contact people that businesses that I already were aware of in Weston-super-Mare. I was conducting free audits without telling them. You know, I would take time and I'd set out an audit and I'd say these areas for improvement, blah, blah, blah. LinkedIn, you know, contacting people through there, putting posts on LinkedIn. And then again, approaching people that I used to work with or in my circles or my second circle of acquaintances,
Yeah.
None of that direct cold marketing worked for me.
Really?
Not one. I've never had an inquiry or a business from Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, or me reaching out to people as a direct manner.
Really?
My experience as well is that I've got 4 years in recruitment. So I've been working closely with a lot of HR companies of all sizes of businesses, and HR managers, the people that sign the checks, are notoriously difficult to get hold of. They're already busy running a large company, and cold calling them and saying, look, we've got this really good accountant recruitment, she's really good at credit control. They're not interested.
Yeah.
You know, my business, I get all of my business. I don't spend it on advertising, and I very rarely do LinkedIn posts, very rare. All of my business is incoming. I don't spend any money on advertising. I never have done. I do social media only because if it's linked from your homepage that you've got a Twitter account and you go on there and your last tweet was 2019, you think, okay, fair enough. But then you go to another SEO company, you go into their Twitter feed and they've tweeted once a week or something. You think these are people that care. It's likewise, if you go on a Facebook page and the company hasn't updated it since 2018, you think, what's the point of having it?
I know what you mean,
And it's also the amount of hours that it will take to run these campaigns. You know, are you better placed to spending that time writing a long ass article for Nina so that she can shout at you and tell you where you're going wrong?
Yeah, it's a lot to think about. I mean, but I've got to try and relay all this information back.
Well, the thing is, I've recorded this.
All right.
So what I will do, I think it's probably easier if I record it up on YouTube and then send you a private link.
Okay, well, there's no rush with that. I mean, I'll
well, no, it doesn't
taking notes
take long
anyway.
at all. It probably takes me 20 minutes to download, and then I've got a Sunday dinner actually today at 2, so I'll just do the uploading while I'm going out.
Okay.
So I should be able to ping that over when I get back this afternoon. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be fun to watch back because you can see, look at this mad woman, look at all these sex toys that she's got. You didn't think about screen sharing before she started the session.
Each to their own, I think.
Yeah, that's what I say. You do you. That's what I've always said.
Yeah,
you do you.
exactly.
Okay, so what I will do then, Joe, I'll download this as a PDF.
Yeah, if you could, that'd be great.
Let's have a look. Download as PDF. And then I'll deliver this over people per hour, close the work stream so that people per hour can see that you've had that consultation and delivered the work. And then from then on, all the balls in your court, down to you and your team over there to figure out, you know, your revenue stream, what's going to happen with that, your allocation, your time to write content, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, no, it's been really good. Yeah, I'm definitely going to get that content done, and